Welcome to the Nexup Podcast. This show is geared more towards talking about the next up in tech. Many of the things around consumer tech, such as smartphones, computers, tablets, and stuff like that, as well as things dealing with cord cutting. I'm your host, PC747. Now, I've been a big fan of tech for a while. When I started with, really when I first picked up the Motorola Droid. I picked it up for the first time, had a hard time using it as I came from an iPhone, and I was visiting a lot of forums trying to pick up how to, learn my tech, as well as what it could do. Particularly because at the time when I picked up the Motorola Droid, I wanted one thing. I wanted to be able to take the NFL Sunday Ticket app that I had on my iPhone and be able to use it on my Motorola Droid. And I was told by a number of people that was coming. And I just kept looking online, trying to figure out when will this get here. And when I was going down that rabbit hole of searching for how to get this NFL Sunday Ticket app on my Motorola Droid, it led me to pretty much a whole experience dealing with Android. And ever since, I've been following tech, closely as I learned how to root my phone, and then we went from the rooting phase to seeing where Android evolved to Android evolving to we got Chromebooks now and tablets now. We're seeing, as far as how we consume television is changed to where, we've gotten away from just, the standard cable television. We're now streaming now. And all of this technology opens up a lot of more technology out there. And this is kind of what this show is geared to talk about. The technology that's out there that a lot of consumers like myself are interested in because it is affecting our lives now. For a number of us that are just fans, we just want the latest and greatest. But there's some of you out there, the reason why you stumbled on this technology is because you need it for work and you just kind of want to get an idea what's going on because it's now part of your life. So this is kind of what we have here with why or what got me into this whole technology, this whole industry right here. And it caused me to want to dive more into it, learn more about it. And I became a fan of it, started playing with it more. And then eventually got to the point where I started writing about the technology. And then now it's kind of to the point now let's go from writing about it to start talking about it because I have a passion with, smartphones and technology. And I just like to bring that forward to people. So today's show, we have just a number of topics. First, we're going to cover some of the news that is going on for this week, getting around smartphones and cord cutting. And then we'll hit some quick topics as far as news that, it broke out this week. It's something that I'm going to throw out there real quick, but I'm not going to really dive too much into. And then I'll end it with a couple of topics that are geared towards, what today's show is about. So let's go ahead and get started with some of the news for the week. So for this week of April 12th, this is what we got going on in the world of Android and technology. So let's go ahead and get started talking about the Samsung Galaxy Fold. So if you have been a fan of this idea of a new genre of phones, a new technology out there, the next evolution of smartphones, I'm sure you heard of it. You saw the commercial as Samsung put it out there. You heard people talk about it, and it's almost here. And what we're talking about are these folding devices, the folding phones. And Samsung put out a presentation about a couple of months ago showing what they're going to be contributing to this technology. And for those wanting to jump on this technology, well, you can pre-order it now. And if you go ahead and pre-order it now through Samsung or through the companies they have that they're going to put it on, it's going to cost you around $2,000 for the device. And you will be able to get it on April 26th. So if you want to be one of the first people to have this next evolution of smartphones in your hand, go ahead and jump on board and go ahead and pre-order the device now. The next thing of news I want to talk about is for those like me who are cord cutters. So if you got tired of paying, $100-something a month for a cable TV package, then you pulled away from that and cut the cord. And there was a reason, just for myself, why I got tired of the cable companies, because there was a bunch of channels that they made me pay for, and I got tired of paying for channels I wasn't watching. I think a lot of us have been there. You go through your whole catalog of channels that you have on cable, and you're like, man, majority of the stuff I really don't watch. For myself, the main thing I really cared about was sports. As long as I had my sports, I was good. I didn't really need much else, especially now we got Netflix out here. So it was like, can I just have sports and leave everything else? I'll take a couple of news channels here and there, and maybe even a couple of your television, your basic cable channels, as you say, like CW or AT&T or something like that, so that you can catch up on a couple of shows. But for the most part, where we at now, we didn't really need a cable television. So you have YouTube TV. They came along at $35 a month. They brought not only the ability to watch, whatever you want to watch anywhere, whether you have your smartphone, a tablet, a Chromebook, Chromecast, you was able to enjoy pretty much quality television. And to add to that, you had the ability to have an HDR. So for people like me who, you just don't have time at night to catch up on a show, you got to catch it. And that's actually a lot of people now, where you just got to catch it later on, whether it be on a train commuting to work or on the weekends or something like that. That's where those HDRs come in handy. And with this having the HDR through the cloud, it's pretty much like I can get caught up on my shows later. And that is what I loved about YouTube TV. It was why I was willing to pay the $35 a month. And not only was I willing to pay the money, but pretty much after using it, I love the service. And yeah, everyone I that possibly maybe be tired of cable TV or thinking about cutting the cord, that's the first thing I recommend. Check out YouTube TV. It's pretty much the thing that you need right now, especially for you who are tired of spending that type of money for cable. And well, we got a problem here. And the reason why, because, this $35 a month YouTube TV, starting May 26th, going to be $49.99 a month. Now, some people are like, all right, look, there may be a reason for this. So the reason why, because they're going to be adding a couple other channels, such as Discovery Networks, as well as HDTV, Food Network, Discovery Channel, Investigation Discovery, TLC, Animal Planet, Travel Channel, and Motor Trends. Now, I know a number of people, when I recommended going to YouTube TV, a couple of them channels, especially like Discovery, this, and they would like to see added to that. And I understand in order to have these extra channels to appease a broad audience, it's going to cost money. And that would be the reason why they probably increased the price. But this is kind of the concern I'm having with these core or these companies out here that are these streaming cable companies. And that's the fact that they're starting to become what we left. Yes, I'm glad we're offering more channels and offering more options. But there are a number of people out there, the reason why we left cable is because we're not all the same. Where some people may want all the channels and want to pay that full package. You have some people that all they want is the basics. They just want the basic, channels such as their news channels, their basic cable channels, and maybe some sports. And this is where I hope that the people in YouTube TV can evolve their service to, where it allows people like myself to have the choice. Because if I really don't care about having all the cartoon channels, or I don't want or need these channels, but I just want my sports and my news, then allow me to have that at a cheaper price. In other words, for people like me who say, look, all I want to do is pay the $35 a month and you can keep all those extra channels that you added, give me that option. But for those who say, well, you know what, I want a little bit more. I want something for the kids. I want something for me who may be into the Discovery, or I want my sports. I want something for, other people. Then that will be a way that they can add those extra channels and understand that they're going to be paying a little bit more. Now they also are going to be adding OWN, which is pretty much Oprah's network, to their network. But still, I'm honestly hope that the price hike stops. Because this is something that where YouTube TV really shined and gave a good option for those who were tired of the cable companies. It's like at the end of the day, when you add in what you're paying for cable now at $50, you add what Charter and some of these other companies are wanting to charge you for high-speed internet, which is around 40, 50, $60 now, and then plus Netflix, we're getting to the point where, you know what, it doesn't pay to be a cord cutter anymore. And now a lot of the industry people out there who were back in big cable, they're liking this because you pretty much put the consumer in a spot where no matter which way you go, you still end up losing. And as a consumer who want to see this industry grow in a way that really benefits the consumer to allow choices, this is not really the thing that I'm like seeing right now. And I'm hoping, again, like I said, that enough people can make suggestions to YouTube TV and make known that, look, for all these channels, that's nice, but let's see you guys be different. Let's see you guys give us options and give people the choice. So let's go ahead and continue on what's going on in the news. So if you were someone who owned a Nexus 6P in the past, someone like me who I had a Nexus 6P, and I had to say, for the most part, it was a good device. I bought the Nexus 6P after having the Note 5. I was tired of the software that came with Samsung's phones. I didn't like the fact that it didn't get swift updates. So I said, you know what? I'm going back to a Nexus device. And yeah, I love the Nexus phones, and I was willing to take that at the price of giving up a good camera for it. Well, I was one of those people who actually did later on with owning a Nexus, had some issues with the phone to the point I had to send it back to Huawei to have it fixed. And I gotta say, they really suck as far as customer service, to the point where I did call up Google and said, look, I hope you guys don't ever use those guys again, or if you do, you guys need to take control of your, as far as handling customers with any type of repairs or any type of issue that come along. Well, it looks like the result of their decision to use Huawei may have not been a good thing for them. Because right now, if you have a Huawei, or you had an issue with your Nexus 6P, and you, had to deal with some boot loop issues as well, well, there's a class action lawsuit that was filed against them. And as a result of that class action lawsuit, you can get up to $400 if you can prove that you experienced a boot loop with your Nexus 6P. Now, for most of us out there, we're probably not going to be able to prove that because, again, either the phone is gone and somewhere else, like for me, I gave my phone away a long time ago, or you just moved on. You're not going to be able to prove it. So most consumers will probably be able to claim the $75 for having an experience. But at the end of the day, even though we got this class action lawsuit going on, I'm thinking that for Google, I hope they kind of, continue to, learn, from this and they have. I think they have done a better job as far as their customer service and how they handle their smartphones, especially when you have issues. Any issues I've had when I've contacted Google support, I've not had any problems getting help. So, so if you're someone who had issue with your Nexus 6P, you still having it, you may qualify for up to $400 for the class action lawsuit. Now, if you wanted more info about this, you can see the article posted up on Android Police. Another topic real quick. So 5G, we've been talking about 5G for a while, and there's big excitement to jumping on to 5G. You're hearing about companies like Motorola putting out their next smartphone that have 5G with it. Samsung talking about their 5G smartphone. It's a matter of when will LG put out a smartphone with 5G. And we know it's coming, but for all of you just so excited to jump on 5G, just know, early adopters are noticing some issues. One in particular, as reported by Business Career, the Samsung Galaxy S10 5G have been having issues with switching back to 5G. So pretty much, if you have a phone and it's on 5G and you go to an area where there's not a 5G tower that's able to support it, well, the phone is supposed to switch all to LTE. Well, the problem is when you get back to a 5G area, it's not switching back. And in order to make that switch, a lot of customers are having to reboot their phone. Now, I can see where this could get annoying, especially if you're in an area where 5G may not be as prevalent. And, if you're one of the early adopters of this technology, for example, if you picked up a Samsung S10 5G now here in the States, you're going to see that there are going to be very few areas that have the 5G support. So it wouldn't be uncommon for you to walk around or drive around, whatever, and go from that 5G tower to an LTE tower. In fact, right now, I kind of expect that to happen. And if you're having to reboot your phone just to get back to 5G, that would be kind of annoying, especially considering the premium you're paying for a 5G phone. And for me, this is kind of why I say kind of wait with this technology. Where everybody kind of want to jump on board to the 5G bandwagon, the excitement. And I understand the hype for it. The technology, especially when it gets rolled out and is working like it's supposed to, it's going to open up a lot of doors and it's going to be very exciting. But for right now, with all the issues that are going to come with it, yeah, you're going to have to kind of wait. I say just let someone else take the heat. Don't pay the extra money, and unless you have a good reason for it, to jump on for a 5G phone, because there are going to be issues. And this is kind of similar to what we have with LTE. I was one of the first people to jump on the LTE bandwagon when I had the Thunderbolt. And yeah, I remember the issues I had with that. It was kind of similar, where I had issues switching on and off. And this was actually a lot more prevalent with for me, the Samsung Galaxy Nexus. That was one of the issues that plagued that phone, was just the simple fact that, yeah, it had a hard time switching and staying on with the LTE network. So much so that, both Samsung and Google pretty much just, swore that phone off. Those that jump in early with these 5G phones, just know that this is not uncommon to have issues with being an early adopter. We had it with like I said, with the LTE phones. The Galaxy Nexus had an issue. The Thunderbolt had some issues, and particularly battery issues. And that's kind of what I'm wondering, if we're going to start seeing some battery issues with this 5G phone. As, yeah, once 5G towers start to get on board and these phones are downloading, data at the speeds that they're going to be download them at and upload them at, just how well these batteries are going to be able to hold or handle this, and how the software is going to handle these batteries getting hot trying to perform and do all that it needs to do. So I'm thinking we're about 2, maybe 3 years before we start seeing a 5G phone that is really worth buying, for the main consumer. Now, talking about software issues or issues with towers, if you are a customer who have a Pixel 3 and a Pixel 3 XL, you noticing, man, every time I'm on AT&T, I'm losing my LTE connection. And, I've been talking to AT&T about it. They don't seem to know what's going on. I've been trying to look around and ask other people about what's going on and not to get any response. Well, look no more. It turns out you're not the only one having this issue. So, as reported by Android Authority, there have been a number of customers who are Pixel users on AT&T noticing, yeah, that especially when they switch off from Wi-Fi, that they're not getting the LTE signal. In fact, they go look at their bar and see an LTE or a big old X right there by the LTE signal bar. The majority of the people that have this, they are switching pretty much from airplane mode back to LTE, and this is how they're able to restore a signal. Now, there have been a number of reasons why people are thinking this is happening. The main consensus to why this is a problem is because of the simple fact that the Pixel 3 don't have Band 30 support, something that Google have been promising to update this phone with for a while. Now, the reason why this is important, because AT&T uses Band 30 for their LTE. And not the only band they use, but that's pretty much one of the main bands they do use. So hopefully Google will roll out an update soon to allow Band 30 support, as they've been talking about doing it for a while, and pretty much, it seems like this may be needed in order for those on AT&T with Pixel 3s and Pixel 3 XL to enjoy the phone on the network. So this is one of those things where, well, as much as you may want to blame AT&T for, this may not be an AT&T issue. This sounds like more of a Google issue. So let's go ahead and hit some quick news real quick. So Xiaomi could be coming to the U.S. pretty soon. So according to FCC reports, as reported by 9to5 Google, we may soon be seeing Xiaomi phones making its appearance to the States. That means we're going to have another manufacturer here to allow us to have another pool or another phone to add into the pool of phones we have here. And hopefully that once we get Xiaomi here, it can be another manufacturer that could possibly, add something to the market, a market that's starting to become stale. Yeah, if you're someone who's been interested in Xiaomi phones, you may soon have the option to buy one in the States. The late security patch, and I say late because we're in April, and I got my April security patch through Google. It's a late March security patch for the Samsung phones. Well, it may be something that's going to be good for you guys with the Samsung S10. So if you've been having issues with your ultrasonic fingerprint scanner, this security patch will be or may resolve that issue. So be looking for that pretty soon. For cord cutters out there, if you are someone who's been hearing about this Disney Plus, you're like, man, you know what? I'm a big fan of the Star Wars things. I like this. I want the option to be able to see all these Marvel movies all in one streaming service. Well, you may soon get that opportunity. Now, a lot of us been wondering how much is this thing going to cost, because when you look at Netflix and you got DC who has their little universe out there, you already see companies like YouTube TV wanting to hike up their price, and let's not forget Netflix has hiked up their price as well. And it's getting to the point where okay, I'm kind of getting tired of all these companies wanting to charge more and more, and it's getting to the point where it is not benefiting or a benefit to be a cord cutter anymore. So for someone like us, we're curious, how much is Google, how much is Disney wanting to charge for their service? Well, $7 a month, $6.99 to be exact. So starting November 12th, you will be able to go ahead and jump on board this Disney Plus for $6.99 a month. And along with Star Wars films, Marvel movies, you're going to get 30 seasons of The Simpsons. So if you've been a big fan of the Simpsons show, well, you got the chance to check all 30 seasons of it through their network. And that is obviously a result of their acquisition of Fox, as well as being able to check out The Simpsons, Marvel, Star Wars. You know that Disney's going to have some of their original content planned. Similar to kind of how we have on Netflix, where you have some of their original content. YouTube have original content. You also have the original content on DC's program. Well, Marvel going to have their own, and there were a number of rumored shows coming, such as Black Widow show. There's the rumor of a Loki show and stuff like that. So yeah, and I'm pretty sure they're going to have some shows geared for a lot of you Star Wars fans out there that are original content. And I know a lot of you guys are looking forward to that. So yeah, coming November 12th, you'll be able to see what's going to be going down as far as on Disney Plus. So let's go ahead and get started with my first topic, and that's talking about the drone hype. So a couple of years ago, I picked up a consumer drone. Actually, it was a DJI Phantom. It's either 3 or 4. It's actually still sitting up in my closet somewhere. So I jumped on board. Everybody's hyped up with the drone, and I started flying it for the first time, and I'm like, this is amazing. The technology and the software that was used with this made it where someone like me who, I was, kind of weary about flying this thing. I mean, you talk about a drone that, is $1,000 when you go to the store. Now, I didn't pay $1,000. I actually got it for a big discount from someone who was looking to sell it, and they sold it for like pretty much, I want to say about maybe a third of that. So now, okay, for a third of that, I'll go ahead and pick it up, play around with it. And even though I paid that little for it, I knew that, man, if I crashed this drone, it would cost $1,000 to replace it. So I was kind of weary about, taking out there, flying around, worried about what would happen if I crashed the thing. So the first time I flew it, I'm like, all right, I was worried about barely getting off the ground and playing around with it. And then, you start looking at the technology involved, and pretty much the drone, thanks to the technology, was pretty much flying itself. It made it easy for you to fly and feel comfortable with it. You didn't have to worry about, going too high or getting it out of sight, because that's one of the things I was concerned about. As the thing kept going higher and higher, and it's getting away. I'm like, well, the last thing I want is for, God forbid, I hit a limb or hit a tree or hit something, that thing just crash somewhere in the woods somewhere where I can't find it. So that was one of the concerns I had. But yeah, this technology that you have with these drones out there was just amazing. And you just use your phone, an app, and you fly it all over the place. And without having any experience, you was able to pretty much capture good footage, some videos, and just have a good time with it. So you saw this craze of people to this whole industry. Consumers all over picking it up. You had the average person now picking up a consumer drone and then capturing photos at cookouts and weddings, filming videos and capturing all this and uploading it to YouTube. Pretty much your beginner drone pilot was out there just crowding the skies. There was this concern and this outrage about what I'm gonna do if someone uses a drone to spy on me, and then you start seeing articles pop out there of people using drones to peep in people's windows, and how they're gonna use a shotgun to shoot it down, and you start seeing laws that says you can't do that. There was this big old uproar about this whole drone craze. So you would think with all this excitement, all this buzz, all this press about the drone, this whole industry, you would kind of see this thing continue to grow to where we think it will grow. Especially when you start looking at, again, like I said, where we were with the software, the video that we was able to capture with these drones. We're talking about 4K videos. And you had someone like me who, like I said, I am not a professional pilot at all. I'm a beginner. I'm having to use the software to do everything. And I'm capturing good 4K video. I'm flying that thing like a pro, because of the software that was on it, thanks to companies like DJI, what they was putting out there. And now it's like the next thing was taking this technology that was meant mainly for commercial and making it cheaper for more consumers to jump on board. Because if you can drop the price, well, you might have more people picking up drones and more people flying around. And of course, you have more people thinking or worrying about the regulations that needed to be implemented to make sure you kept these novice pilots at bay, make sure they're not flying their drones at airports or areas they don't need to be, or around stadiums, looking to capture footage of games. And of course, you had the concern of people possibly using drones as a result of terrorist acts. So there's been a lot of concern about where this thing could go. But when we look at where we at now with this excitement, this buzz on drones, you would think that, man, with everybody wanting to pick this thing up, the money that companies like DJI was making. And it wasn't just like DJI. You see Parrot, and then you have all these off-name companies. They were making drones. I was going to the Best Buy, and I was seeing pretty much drones that looked almost identical to what I had my DJI drone, but it was some off-name company. But it was still going for around $800-900. So you have all these companies coming up here with their own little drones. So yeah, you would think that this company or this business right here, this industry was ready to boom, ready to pop, ready to become the next industry to ride with that of maybe the smartphones, where there's this big excitement for this technology. And yeah, it just seemed like it just died off almost overnight. All this mainstream, all this excitement, the mainstream consumer running out here to pick up this drone, yeah, it's kind of dying down a little bit. And I thought that maybe I'm just kind of imagining this. And then I saw an article on SUAS News. And this site pretty much cover the drone business. They just put a lot of news articles on it. And he wrote an article about 5 months ago saying that, and the one thing I want to highlight in there is stating that how consumer drone sales have dropped 24%. And this was for the company Preorder. And I would say that if that was back in November, if I had to guess right now, I would say it dropped a little bit more than that. And I was actually looking up on articles about drones and, the latest drones out there, where you have the latest Samsung phone, the latest foldable phone, the latest tablet, the latest television out there, 4K. I didn't really see any new drones out there. No news of a new drone coming out or a new exciting drone or, unboxing of this new drone that's happening, me doing this, that. So it's like, it's clear that this kind of died down for the mainstream. Now, where it may have died down for the mainstream, it kind of may have picked up, though, as far as commercially. Because where drones was really designed to be something that picked up by the commercial and actually just got picked up by the consumers, the commercial industry is really using drones more and more. It's not just a fad for them, because they're using it for movies, television, advertising. Insurance companies are using it to inspect roofs. We have news companies using it for traffic and stuff like that. So it's really opened the door for a number of small businesses. According to MarketWatch, drone pilots are able to earn up to as high as 6 figures a year. So if you're someone, you say, I'm kind of done with my 9 to 5. I'm thinking about, starting my own business. Could I pick up a drone and start making money? Well, it's showing here that you potentially could make as high as 6 figures a year. And for a number of you guys out there, that's like, man, that's a lot more than I'm making at my current job. Now, obviously this is a high number. So I actually asked an actual drone pilot, who I know has his own business. I'm like, okay, look, is this legit? Are people really able to make this kind of money flying drones? And his response was, yeah, they can. A lot of it has to do with where they at, what they specialize in that can make that happen. But on average, most single operators are pretty much averaging around 50 to 1,000 or 100,000 a year. Now, even if you're not making around that, high 6-figure salary, if you were just able to make, like I said, even close to around $70,000 a year, flying around a drone, capturing footage, and pretty much having your own company, for a lot of people out there, that's an investment right there. That's something that they are okay with. And I'm thinking, where we're seeing the drone industry kind of dying off for the average consumer like myself, where you don't quite have the same hype and excitement that's what's out there, I think you're going to always see it remain a key area for the consumer. For the commercial industry. You're going to always have a company out there that is going to look towards a drone to inspect their roof, to help provide advertisement, to allow them to film, to capture an area, to get an idea with the landscape of an area. So I think we're seeing this industry kind of die down for the main consumers. The commercial industry is going to be just fine. And I'm thinking for those who are in the commercial industry, I don't think they're really too hurt at the simple fact that you have your newbie pilots that may not be flying in cloud in the skies and, with their drones and putting it in areas they don't need to put them in, and flying near airports and pretty much disobeying the laws that are out there and causing more regulations for those that are actually trying to do this for a living. So my last topic, and this is geared towards those out there who, you're tired of the $1,000 smartphone. And I talked about this last week. I said, if you just not with these iPhones out here that are continuing to get more expensive. You're getting sick of Samsung. It's like, man, you just put out a $1,200 phone, and now you're talking about putting out something that's $2,000 that going to have problems. I am done with this. You know what? Y'all can have that. How about give me something that's more reasonable? Well, this is for you. Because I know a lot of you out there, you're just tired of it. It's like, I don't need all the bells and whistles. I don't need these apps and programs that I'm hardly ever going to use. I can care less that this can play the latest video game because I don't use my phone for that anyway. I can care less about it being able to take the greatest of videos and pictures because as long as it takes pictures that are good enough for me to enjoy and share my family, I'm okay with. You know, it don't need to be the brightest of displays. It don't need to be one of the most or the most pixels you could get in the phone because you know what? I'm not watching that much video on my phone anyway. In fact, I reserve my movies and TVs to either my news and shows to either my TV or my tablet. Everything else, I really don't need that much as far as having the best display. So if this is you, there are a number of companies out there that make phones for you. And where I talked about the Motorola G7 that just came out, they're not the only one putting out phones that are around that $300-400 price point, or you know, where you can enjoy a phone. You know, OnePlus, you know, for years been putting out phones around that 4 or 5, lower 6 price point. And for a lot of you out there, that's what you want. And as far as these phones, you know, that are, like I said, below these flagship prices, they're not bad phones. You know, the Motorola G7, I actually took a picture with it and put it up on a forum, and a couple of people actually asked me, is that taken with your Pixel? So it can take some good fit photos. And with a lot of photo editing apps that you can get on the Google Play Store, you can go ahead and doctor a photo if you want, or adjust the brightness or something like that. And a lot of these photo apps right now, or camera apps right now, offer a built-in program for photo editing on the fly. In fact, you don't have to look any further than Google Photos, which is available for you to download on almost any smartphone. So, yeah, I don't see any reason to go out there and spend $1,000 if you don't need to. And if you're just mainly using your phone for work, you know, make phone calls, text, you got to shoot out an email or two. You know, every now and then you see what's going on with Twitter. You check out a video on YouTube real quick. You know, if you want to go there to check out what's going on, you're able to do that just fine on that phone. And you don't have anything to worry about. And yeah, you feel like you're winning because you did win. Why? Because you didn't spend $1,000 for this phone. So for someone that's what they about, you're not quite wanting to spend that type of money, check out some of these phones. It may not be, quote, 5G, but we don't have 5G out there yet anyway. It might not have the brightest display, but for what a lot of you guys use it for, it's going to work just fine. It may not have 4 or 5 cameras on back, but you only needed 1 or 2 anyway. So, yeah, check it out, and you're going to be okay with it. Anyway, this is pretty much all that I have for you guys for today's show. Now, one thing I got to say real quick, Game of Thrones is back. So if you're a big fan of Game of Thrones like myself, you'll be able to check it out. And if you're a cord cutter, you can go ahead and pick up HBO Now for $15 a month. Some of you guys are like, well, I'm going to go ahead and find another way to watch it. But for those of you who are cord cutters, you're not subscribed to a cable channel, you want to watch Game of Thrones, yeah, pick up HBO Now and go ahead and be prepared for this Sunday's show. Anyway, this is PC747 again. Thank you for joining today's show. I'm out. I forgot to turn my Google Home off. That's something I sometimes forget to do. But actually, that's one of the things I actually have on my checklist of things to do before I record a show is to turn off the Google Home. And for some other reason, I forgot to turn that thing off. And the one time I forgot to turn it off, that's when I decided to chime in.